Hello, and I welcome you to the Chapter 13 Support Conversations. So, since there isn't any side quests or paralog quests, we're pretty much going to go straight into the support conversations that I've taken the time to gather off screen for you today. So, I got a whole bunch of them, and I did say that it would have been one part, but there's too many, so again, it'll be a two-parter. Half of them will be in this video, and the other half will be in the next one. Excuse me. So, starting off here, a majority of them are going to be with Shez. So let's get started with them.
Ah, it's you. How's it going? Any developments to report?
You mean with my power? Not really, no.
Perhaps using it regularly won't be enough to provoke growth. Good to know.
Hey, I thought you said you weren't interested. I mean, how many times are you gonna come ask me if anything's changed before you're happy?
Weren't you the one so keen on piquing my interest? I only wanted to check how that was going. If you don't think it's possible, just tell me and I'll stop asking.
Dodge the question.
It's too soon to say, really.
Right, of course. You'll just have to keep trying then. How about this? Describe the circumstances in which you first awakened to your power. Maybe we can reproduce the situation and see if lightning doesn't strike twice.
Well, I was staring death in the face when it happened. I'd been beaten so badly I could barely stand. But I kept telling myself I wasn't ready to die yet. Then, out of nowhere, it just came to me.
I suppose we shouldn't try to recreate those conditions. Nobody wants a dead officer on their hands. Let's consider some other potentially relevant factors. Who was your opponent? Where did the struggle take place? What time of day was it? Do you think your emotions played any part in it?
I was fighting the Ashen Demon of all people. I hope we get the chance to cross swords again someday. As for the when and where, we were in a forest, at night. I'm pretty sure it was a full moon, too. And that leaves my emotional state. But I don't know how I could replicate the intense emotions of being at the brink of death like that.
I see. That context would prove quite tricky to simulate. And if your power functions similar to a crest, revealing itself even when you don't intend it, that leaves only one option. Observing you on the battlefield at all times. This is turning out to be more work than I signed up for.
I'll be supportive.
Hey, weren't you telling me not to give up just a second ago? If I can do it, then so can you.
I'm not so sure.
It's pretty interesting. We'll see if they figure out what the deal is with his power and what he can do with it.
So in the end, it seems we're no closer to unveiling the truth about your powers.
You can say that again. At this rate, the war will be over and done with by the time we make any headway.
That would admittedly be cause for celebration, at least. Your power, like that of a crest, is undoubtedly meant to be wielded as an instrument of war. And as the tides of battle recede, your chances of encountering a life-or-death situation grow slimmer and slimmer. Therefore, you'll be forced to use your power less and less often. And that's probably for the best.
I'll agree with them.
True. The less reason to unleash this on the world, the better.
You know, they say even a hero's relic, wielded by its corresponding crest bearer, will still drain a portion of that person's life. It's reasonable to suspect your power could have a similar impact on both your body and mind.
Hey, you're starting to scare me here. Honestly, I was just planning on going back to being a regular old mercenary after the war ends. Can't really imagine life without a blade in my hand, you know?
I should have guessed. I imagine your expert services will be in high demand even once the conflict is over. In fact, the king himself seemed keen on asking you to settle down somewhere to support his rule.
Really? Not that I'm not flattered, of course, but putting down roots isn't really my thing.
No, I suppose not. Though I have to admit, it would put my mind at ease to have you by my side once this is all over.
You want me by your side? Would you care to elaborate on that?
Consider the possibilities. A seemingly unarmed attendant who's able to produce a sword in the blink of an eye. It would be a great crime deterrent, don't you think? You prove quite handy on my travels.
I'll laugh off the idea.
I figured that's what you meant. A pure Lindhardt answer if I've ever heard one. But how's that any different from a regular bodyguard? Seems like you could just hire one of those and be done with it.
Maybe so, but I don't want to be spending the rest of my life with a random bodyguard, do I?
Hold on. What?
Oh, well, look at the time. It seems I've forgotten an urgent matter I need to attend to. Bye for now.
Wait, Lindhardt! Come back!
That got pretty weird. But that ends their support conversations. It probably makes more sense if Shez was a girl, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. It is what it is.
Hey, you gotta hear this!
What's up, Raphael? You're looking extra cheerful today.
Have you seen the looks on all the soldiers' faces lately? Don't they seem way more motivated?
Well, yeah. I was wondering what was going on with that.
His food.
Well, I was curious too, so I asked. And you know what they said?
The war has turned in our favor.
Is it because we're winning the war? Lots of victories always boost morale.
Makes sense. Anyway, that's not the reason this time. They all said it was because of the food.
You don't mean...
Yep. They've all been eating the dishes we came up with. You know, with the smoked meat and the rotten food.
Hey, didn't I tell you not to call it rotten? In any case, our hard work definitely paid off. And the food's great too, if I do say so myself.
Right? I could eat that stuff over and over again and never get sick of it.
And it's a big hit with the soldiers too. They said they actually get excited for mealtime now.
Plus, it's made them fight way harder in battle.
I'm really glad everyone's so happy with it. Makes all our effort feel completely worthwhile.
You bet. See, food's important no matter who, when, or where you are.
Yeah, back in my mercenary days, I'd scarf down any old scraps so long as I was full at the end of it. But I've changed my outlook. Honestly, I feel like I can work even harder now that I can look forward to all my meals. And I never would have gotten here without you, Raphael. Thanks.
Huh. I was just thinking the same thing about you. Guess we helped each other equally. You know, I scrounged up every last piece of gold I could find, just so I could go to the Officers Academy and become a knight. But once it shut down, opening the inn was basically my only option. But then, running the inn helped me realize all sorts of important stuff too. And now I'm sure, once this war's all wrapped up, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to become the best innkeeper in all of Fodlan.
Sounds like a solid plan, but you'll probably need to up your cooking game even more if that's the end goal.
Yeah, I bet I'll have to train under a real great chef to get me where I want to be. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna come up with a brand new style of cooking. Something that'll really work my muscles.
What would that even look like?
Well, I don't know. I haven't invented it yet. Whatever the case, I know what I want to do now. Hey, what do you say to tagging along with me? I think you've got a real knack for this cooking stuff.
Probably shouldn't make any promises I can't keep.
I appreciate the offer, but I think I'm gonna have to pass. Mercenary work's where I belong.
So you're gonna stick to being a hired hand, huh? Well, as long as that's what you want to do. Oh, but keep an eye out for an invitation from me. You'll definitely have to come over and try all the rotten food I cook up.
Seriously, stop calling it that. But thanks. I'm looking forward to it, Raphael.
Yeah, probably has a good name for his restaurant inside the inn. Raphael's Beefy Meals. Makes sense. That ends their support conversations.
Hey, do you have a moment?
What's going on, Ignatz? Finally leaving on that journey to see the world?
No, not that. In fact, we're not going to talk about my dreams today. You always ask questions about me, but you never talk about yourself. So, I thought it was high time I asked about you. You certainly have piqued my curiosity.
Crack a joke.
What, you got a crush on me or something?
Huh? No! I mean, I like you, but not like, you know, in that special way.
I'm joking, don't worry. No need to get all flustered. So, what did you want to know?
Well, since I told you about my dreams, I wanted to know about yours.
My dreams, huh?
Probably living that easygoing mercenary life.
I think being a mercenary and going wherever the wind takes me sounds pretty good.
You still want to be a mercenary? Even after the war's over? But we'll finally have peace. You won't have to fight anymore.
There's always going to be fights.
Yeah, but that's all I've been doing even since before the war started. I'd just be going back to my old way of life. Killing monsters, guarding villages. There's still plenty of work, even in times of peace. And who's to say some enemy from outside Fodlan won't show up?
Well, that may be true, but isn't it difficult having to constantly fight all the time?
Every job's got its tough parts, but the mercenary lifestyle's a perfect match for my personality. I can't even imagine settling down and establishing roots somewhere.
Yeah, that does sound like you.
Does it now?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just meant that you don't really seem like the kind of person who wants to stay tied down.
You think so? Well, whatever the case, I plan on earning my keep with my sword. As long as my body holds out, that is. What about you, Ignatz? You gonna stay a knight once this thing's over?
I'm not sure. I'll have to cross that bridge when I come to it. But if my duties as a knight were to end at some point, then I guess that's when I could make my dreams a reality. If I were to do that, do you think you'd like to come with me as my bodyguard?
You do realize I'll be Fodlan's most sought-after mercenary by then. Well, I'm not gonna come cheap.
Oh, really? Then I'll have to work extra hard to save up some money. Because I really do want to travel with you.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Ignatz. I'll be counting down the days till then.
Basically, from these support conversations, they really trust Shez. And that ends their support conversations.
Today's battle wasn't half bad. Minus that close call, I guess. I tell you, when I charged ahead and saw all those archers waiting for me, a single thought flashed through my mind. Not how I'd like to go, but that's life, I guess. Phew, I was sure I was done for.
What are you talking about? It was so windy, there was no way they could have gotten a clean shot at you. You completely wiped them out. Are you telling me you didn't plan it that way?
I mean, I knew a breeze was blowing, but still.
You're right. You would have been Balthus-sized target practice if the wind died down. But you bet your life that it wouldn't, right? That's something only you could pull off. I never would have taken those odds.
It was all lady luck, pal. Pure and simple. Where's this coming from, anyway? I thought you hated all that gambling on life and death stuff.
I did, but you're living proof that it can have a place on the battlefield. You roll the dice and get the job done. Can't argue with success. I have to accept that your way actually works. All I can do is hope you win your bets every time.
Thanks for saying that, but what happened today wasn't calculated at all. Things were going great, then I got carried away and made a stupid mistake. It just so happened that the wind was blowing the right way. Otherwise, I'd be dead.
Uh-huh, sure.
Quit pulling my leg. There's no way that was a coincidence.
It was a complete fluke, honest. That's why I was gonna tell you I've learned my lesson. That I'm done gambling with my life.
Really? That's the best idea you've ever had.
But since you admitted my way has merit, I think I'll keep rolling the dice. I gotta do what works for me, you know? Can't let one close call make me lose my nerve.
Wait, what? Isn't that what almost got you killed today? I take it back. You are definitely gonna die. Please stop.
Nope. Too late. A warrior doesn't go back on their word after all. We might have had some misunderstandings along the way, but what's important is that you learned to accept me for who I am, right?
In that case, what about you saying you weren't gonna bet your life on this stuff anymore? A warrior doesn't go back on their word, after all.
That doesn't count. I only said I was gonna tell you.
I accept defeat.
Sure, whatever you say. Your logic is flawed, but it makes a tiny bit of sense.
I know, right? You're a good sport, pal. If you still want to grumble about it, we can hash things out later when we're celebrating our victory.
Fine, I can live with that. It's a tough job, but someone's got to talk some sense into you.
But that's what Yuri's for. That ends their support conversations.
Constance, is that you? I don't think I've ever seen you train during the day.
Good day to you, though I fear my presence is as a storm cloud in an otherwise clear sky.
My sincerest apologies for subjecting you to this wretched sight. I shall vacate the premises at once to spare you any further distress.
No, wait, don't go. Since you're here, why don't we train together? You're here because you're trying to achieve your dream, right?
Though it pains me to deny such kind words, of which I am truly unworthy. I am afraid my dream will likely never come to pass. This pathetic excuse for athleticism you see before you is nothing but a futile attempt to strengthen my frail body and stave off death. How could I possibly ask an exemplary warrior such as yourself to squander your time with one such as I?
Training so you don't die is as good a reason as any. I'd say that's why I'm doing it too. See? Our goals are the same, so there's no reason not to work together.
Well, since you have given it much more consideration than I deserve.
Phew, what a workout. I'm beat.
To think my other side would be able to keep up with such rigorous training.
You okay, Constance?
Never better. In fact, I am just getting started. Are you leaving so soon?
Let's do this.
All right, let's go again. But it's strange how you're suddenly so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
I surprise even myself sometimes. Making my dreams a reality takes effort, you know. I cannot allow something so trifling as exhaustion to stand in my way. Who knows how long things would take if I did? Therefore, I shall spare no opportunity to train today. And tomorrow, all of Fodlan will behold my military prowess.
That's all well and good, but then why didn't you want to train before?
I told you there were extenuating circumstances. Had I known you would respond in such a manner, I would have asked for your assistance much earlier. Oh, I just had a brilliant idea!
I've got a bad feeling about this.
We can train together and conduct magical experiments at the same time! You see, I've invented this particular spell that imbues the palms with a suction power that makes dropping one's weapon a hindrance of the past.
Casually agree.
Sure, why not? I'll try anything once. Go for it.
Splendid! Let us begin, shall we?
One side has an overabundance of confidence, while the other clearly has some deep-seated issues. Maybe the two balance each other out.
What are you blathering on about? Let us be on with it!
More on both sides of Constance. That ends our support conversations, by the way.
Oh, hey. On your way back from training? It's admirable of you to keep at it so late.
Yeah, well, I like to get in a little bit of practice whenever I can. Can't afford to fall behind with everyone else getting so strong on the battlefield.
It's a little late for me today, but I could join you tomorrow. If that's okay, of course.
Really? That'd be great.
A desire to get stronger is not a bad thing in my book. While we're on the subject, can I ask you something? Why do you want to get stronger? No, wait. Let me start with a different question. What made you originally decide to become a mercenary?
Give her an answer.
It's not really much of a story. This is kinda just where I ended up. After my mom died, I left the village we'd been living in, but I had no idea what I was gonna do. I eventually ran out of money and fell in with a mercenary group. Then I worked my way up from doing their laundry to fighting.
You don't say. Well, I guess your story is a pretty common one, actually. How'd mercenary life treat you?
Awful at first, but once I met some folks that I got along with, it wasn't so bad. Anyway, the plan was to keep fighting alongside my friends, make a name for myself as a merc, and eventually run out of luck and die. But somehow, I've suddenly found myself in charge of the King's private army, leading soldiers into battle. Not really what I expected, I'll tell you that much.
That's how life is. You never know what tomorrow will bring. When I was a kid, I never imagined I'd be wielding some holy relic as a Knight of Seiros. I thought my destiny was to follow in my father's footsteps and become the next Count Karen.
It seems like you've been through a lot. I heard you were a fugitive at one point.
Yes, well, something happened. My best friend lost his way, and I couldn't set him right. Eventually, it cost him his life, and I let it happen. I couldn't stay in my hometown after something like that. But despite all that pain and sadness, I have no regrets about the choices I've made in my life.
Not many can say that. So, you've succeeded in making your past self proud, huh?
That's right. My past has made me who I am today. I'm going to keep moving forward, no matter what hardships lie ahead.
You're a strong person, Catherine. I think I could learn a lot from you. Hearing your story and what you said about making yourself proud gives me so much to think about. No matter how hard we try, there will always be times when we have to make tough choices, right? My past self fought hard to get me here. Am I gonna make the choice that past me would have approved of?
The tough part isn't making the right choice, though. It's what you do after. You must try your best to make whatever decision you land on into the right one in the end.
You make it sound so easy, but the more I think about it, the harder it seems.
Then don't think about it. Just keep trying your best day after day. Put one foot in front of the other, and eventually, you'll look back and realize how far you've come.
That's all I've got to do, huh?
That's all. You could even start right now. If anything I said struck a chord, that is. I, for one, look forward to seeing you carve your own path, wherever it may lead.
The future is now. Pretty interesting conversation. It ends theirs.
That's hilarious. Who knew there could be a merc like that?
Yeah, he'd say it with a completely straight face, too. I take my pay in apples. This guy would storm onto the battlefield lugging around a sack full of apples. Truly one of the strangest things I've ever seen.
I guess you could say he was hungry for battle. Wish I could have seen that myself.
He was probably the best-smelling guy out there. I'll give him that.
Smelling like apples.
That reminds me. Remember when you asked about my past?
Yeah, sorry if that was out of line. I shouldn't have pried.
No, it's okay. Actually, I thought I would tell you, if you're still interested.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. It's not much of a story anyway. Besides, it's already been 7 years. I used to belong to an organization that was less a group and more like one giant mercenary state. Not the kind of place you go for building bonds of trust and camaraderie. Still, there was one person there who I thought of as a partner. As you can probably guess, he was killed. And that was that.
How awful.
Yeah, that's how these stories always end. I know it was a long time ago, but I'm really sorry. But why'd you want to tell me all of a sudden? I thought you hated talking about your past.
I felt a little guilty. You shared your story with me earlier, but I didn't tell you mine. At the time, I wasn't about to go telling some stranger all about my past. But now I think you're at least somewhat trustworthy. So I told you. That's all.
Seriously? Wow. I'm really happy to hear that, especially from you.
Why? Everyone here adores you. I'm sure you hear stuff like that all the time.
All the time? Come on, that's an exaggeration. I've always felt that you were a more distinguished mercenary than me. Earning recognition from a merc I respect is a real honor.
So if you see me as some sort of senior mercenary, I guess that makes me the mentor in this relationship.
I guess.
I see. All this time I've been treating you like an equal, but maybe I should have been taking you under my wing instead.
Music's fading out. That sounds good.
How would you feel if I took you up on that? Seems like fun.
Yeah, well, you know what else is fun? Any person I mentor has to pay for drinks. All of them.
No way. What kind of deal is that?
Just a joke. Sorry. I have no intention of treating you any different.
I should have known. That's why I like you, Shamir.
That's why I like you, Shamir. Shamir is very trusting now. That ends the support conversations. And I really like Shamir as a character.
Ah, Sylvain. I was hoping to ask your opinion on our recent meeting.
Hey, I'm always happy to talk. But if you want House Gautier's take, shouldn't you ask my father?
I don't want House Gautier's opinion. I want yours.
Okay. Well, we were talking about the pros and cons of incorporating commoners in the nobility, right? Seems to me like we got it all sorted out.
Yes. The discussion primarily revolved around a single point. Whether those without crests are actually worthy of entering the nobility.
I mean, if they're up to the challenge, I don't see why not. It's like how you promoted my brother, right? Skill is what matters in the end.
Indeed. And the performances of Ash and the commander serve as proof of such.
Just don't get carried away, you know? Too much of a good thing and all that. I'm sure you realize what would happen to the kingdom if we lost the power of crests.
Naturally. However, crest bloodlines are currently fading everywhere. People such as Felix who were born with major crests are the exception in this day and age.
Which means Fargus has two options if we want to retain our power. One, we bolster our military and promote prosperity while delicately letting the bloodline dance play out. Or two, we admit bloodlines won't last forever and create a social system that doesn't rely on inheritance. Neither one would hold up for long, but if I had to choose, I guess the first option would be the better one for the kingdom on the whole.
Bolstering our military is more easily said than done. Impoverished as our land is, it will be difficult to compete with regions of more fertile ground.
Hey, do you remember what I said when you talked to me about promoting my brother? I told you it was important to keep up appearances while we were in the middle of a war. And honestly, I don't have any real objection to the way you're running things now.
Thank you, Sylvain. I knew you would help me sort things out in my head.
I don't usually get into serious stuff like this, but I'm glad I could help.
Such topics are not beyond your grasp, though. Your complete sincerity is a great strength. That said, you never show that side of you to any but Felix and myself. Although, I must admit, you were far from sincere during our academy days.
Ugh, don't remind me. Just thinking about it makes me cringe.
If you see the error of your ways, it is not too late to mend them. Or perhaps you require one of my lectures like old times?
Pass. You know I've got them all memorized anyway.
I do hope you realize how much I rely on you, Sylvain. You have so many things I lack. You're clever and quick-witted like your father, yet...
Yeah, well, I've been jealous of your strength ever since we were kids.
None of us are perfect, so let us dwell no longer on our failings. I apologize for taking up so much of your time, though I hope to have similar discussions in the future.
Looking forward to it. Glad I can always speak my mind around you.
The kingdom is like a puzzle. It's like all the different people are the different puzzle pieces that make the puzzle complete. If you don't have one particular person, then it's like the puzzle will never be complete. And like that analogy, it makes sense, but it's just me explaining it. It doesn't, it kind of makes sense. Whatever. That ends our support conversations. It shows how important Sylvain is to the kingdom.
Your Majesty, about tomorrow's drills. Apologies. I did not mean to interrupt.
It's fine, Ingrid. We had just finished.
That was the leader of the Dusker forces, yes? What were you talking about?
We were discussing various tactics and formations. We must be aligned if we're to fight together. The way Dusker soldiers operate is quite different from our knights. I must also be mindful of how I deploy them to avoid undue conflict.
Yes, I hear there have already been a number of small quarrels in the encampment.
It's not a problem easily solved. I'm sure each side finds it difficult to adjust to the other. And you, Ingrid. Do you still hate the people of Dusker?
I no longer have reason to hold on to that hate. Yes, a few of them were involved in the tragedy, but I cannot blame the rest for that. There were many other forces at work. I understand that now. Yet I used to focus all my negative feelings on the people of Dusker, and for that I am ashamed. In a way, I now find myself scared of interacting with them at all.
You needn't blame yourself. The fault lies with me for not speaking to you about it more 6 years ago. I hesitated because I didn't wish to confuse the matter, not knowing the full truth of it. But you were forced to grapple with many painful feelings as a result. Clearly, my priorities were not in order.
You had enough to deal with 6 years ago. So many knights were expelled from the castle, and almost none but Lord Rodrigue would set foot in the capital. Even my father prevented me from going to see you.
Yet, I still could have sought you out. And I had countless chances to discuss the matter at the academy.
I do not think I would have taken it well even if you had. I was convinced that Glenn died saving you from irredeemable villains. I forced myself to believe that. If I hadn't, I fear I may have gone mad.
I was in a similar position. But once I finally opened the lid on that box, I realized just how many were involved, including members of our own kingdom. In the end, I knew I had to reconcile with reality.
And I must also accept the reality that stands before me now. We are allied with the people of Dusker, which means I can no longer avoid them.
I have an idea. It may not help, but I'd like to take you somewhere. The father of that man I was speaking with earlier opened an inn last year, and it's not far. Would you care to join me there for a meal? Word has it he's quite skilled at making all manner of food. Of course, if this is all too much and too soon, I understand.
Not at all. I would love to accompany you. Though it shames me to admit it, I likely lack the courage to go alone. But with you at my side, I think I can take that first step.
In that case, let us make haste. Oh, and this will be my treat, so keep your pocketbook shut tight.
The royal treatment. It actually shows how vulnerable Ingrid was. So yeah, that ends their support conversations. Didn't really get like too much of that during Three Houses, I believe. But I mean, it's like the stories carry over. It's like the tragedy happened in both games. It's just whatever happened at the academy is different between both games.
You seem to be staring at me, Yuri. What's wrong?
Just thinking how odd it is that you've grown so accustomed to a town like this.
Well, I like this place, and its people. There may be a few vagabonds in the darker alleys. That just shows how accepting everyone is. They all greet me with smiles, despite my being a complete stranger to them.
Oh, they'd change their tune pretty quickly if they knew you were the king. Anyway, have you enjoyed your little tour of this garbage heap? Did you get a good look at the town through my eyes or whatever it is you wanted?
Yes. And it's also got me thinking about how best to help those of more meager standing. Originally, I thought that establishing medical facilities or investing in the church were the best pathways to this cause. But after seeing the people here, I realized they are not indigents standing around with open hands awaiting salvation.
I'd love to unpack your definition of indigent, but yes, they certainly don't take things lying down.
Maybe it's idealistic, but I think regents should rule in a way that not just nobles, but everyone can see as reasonable. But to accomplish that, a ruler must take the opportunity to truly listen to the people. Of course, I can't go around visiting every burg and hamlet personally. I realize this. But I still feel this is the key to true reform.
Well, good on you if you actually manage to accomplish that. But it isn't going to be easy. First, you have to give the poor a minimum level of education. Of course, they're already fully capable of telling you when they're hungry or if taxes are too high. But they'll need education to understand the policies and laws established by their lords and hold any kind of thoughtful opinion on them.
Education, you say? Yes, that makes a great deal of sense.
Problem is, people aren't in the mood to learn anything when they don't know where their next meal is coming from or where they'll sleep that night.
Right. Improving quality of life is first and foremost. Education can be built upon that. Now, sadly, none of this will be cheap, and the current war is doing a fine job of draining our coffers. Which means I need to end it as soon as possible.
So the main problem comes down to money, huh? In that case, why not make use of us? If you need funds, I can introduce you to a wealthy merchant or three. And if you need to get some dirty work done, I can lend you a few of my men. All we need in exchange is for you to provide us a little bit of support.
I'll not permit you to work evil in my name. And besides which, tales of how you and your band have eaten lords out of house and home are legend.
But you're a different matter entirely, Your Majesty. If we join forces, my dream is sure to be realized. I swear to never allow you to fall victim to any vile practices. You have my honest word on that.
And what is this dream of yours?
I'll tell you about it in due time. But for now, Your Majesty, do you accept my proposal?
I will consider it. After spending time together, I've come to want to trust you.
I promise it'll be the best decision you ever make. But until then, I'll patiently await your reply.
Will he take the deal? We'll find out next time. But this was the end of their support conversations, so we'll never find out. Probably until I beat the game, and then, like, there might be something there. Who knows?
Dedue, what are you doing here?
Ah, Annette. I was training.
Wow, do you ever take a break? 'Cause you should. It's almost dinner time.
I don't plan to stop yet. I'm still not strong enough.
Not strong? You mean with your axe? Come on, you're plenty good at swinging that guy around.
No. I must make up for my inability to wield a hero's relic. You, Felix, and the others are all able to make use of their immense power. I know I can never rise to that level, but if I could somehow close the gap. To be honest, I'm envious. Envious of your ability to wield such a powerful instrument.
Whoa, I don't think I've ever heard you open up like that before.
I apologize. Please forget I said anything.
No, I'm happy you told me. I feel closer to you now. Anyway, I think you're really strong already. I don't know what we'd do without you.
Truly?
Yeah, you're invaluable with or without a relic. Crests and relics are only useful on the battlefield anyway. But you can cook and sew and do all kinds of helpful stuff. Meanwhile, I'm pretty much just 9 thumbs and a toe. Plus, you swing around that heavy axe like it's nothing. So I mean it, Dedue. You're amazing.
We each have something the other lacks.
Exactly. Besides, maybe it's a good thing that you can't use a relic. If you could, you'd be too good and the rest of us would just be getting in your way all the time. Training is fine and dandy, but don't be so hard on yourself, okay?
You're strong in your own way, Annette. Your optimism is infectious. It aids not only me, but everyone else as well.
Aw, you're making me blush. Still, I guess being positive sort of is one of my special talents, huh? And if it managed to help you even a little, that's enough for me. Anyway, I made dinner today, so let's head back and start feasting. It'll be yummy, promise. I mean, I did manage to make the bottom of the pot fall out, so things got a little hairy there for a second, but it smells great.
The bottom fell out?
Yeah, but it turned out amazing, I swear. I can't wait for you to try some.
How did you manage to... Never mind. Let's eat before it grows cold.
Oh man. It's like, Annette is so likable. I think so. If anybody else thinks so, let me know. But it's like, both Dedue and Annette are likable. But that ends their support conversations. I really like their conversation. That one in particular.
Hey, Felix! Wanna go work out?
Quiet! You'll give away my position.
Oops. Sorry. Didn't realize you were hunting. I'll just back off and, Whoa. Look at that! I've never seen a boar that big. If we take it down, we'll eat like kings! Kings, I tell you!
hang on. You don't just rush into a fight against a beast like that. You need the proper equipment.
Ah, don't worry. I've got my fists. Now lead the way, meat buddy.
Alright, fine. Anyway, as I was saying, if we aren't adequately prepared, we'll be the ones who end up as someone's dinner. Boars are naturally cautious beasts, but this one also appears to be wounded. If it spots us, it'll charge and send us to an early grave.
Wait, have you fought one of these before?
Years ago, but yes. It managed to get away, though.
Wow! It must have been one heck of a beast if even you had trouble taking it down.
House Blathid and House Fraldarius used to go on hunting trips together. On one trip, a certain prince bagged so many animals it proved impossible to fit them all on the sled. Meanwhile, I went off hunting on my own, encountered the boar, and barely escaped with my life.
Wait, why would Dimitri want to kill you? Or do you mean like an actual boar?
While this may not be the same boar, I will get no small amount of satisfaction if we manage to bring it down.
Hold on, who are we talking about here? Whatever. Let's do this thing!
I'll share the spoils with you, but the kill is mine. Now stand back.
Wait, but if you take it on by yourself, won't you just lose again?
What did you say?
Haven't you heard that 2 fists are better than 1? Or, I guess it'd be 4 fists are better than 2.
I'm not confident even that will be enough, but fine. I suppose adding more fists to the mix never hurt anyone. Curses had spotted us. Nothing for it now. Come on, Raphael.
Come at me, boar. I'll punch you so hard the chef won't even need to tenderize you.
Don't attack it head on, fool! Circle around to the rear!
Yeah! We did it!
I can't believe we took it down so quickly.
Told you this was a 4-fist job!
I guess you did. Maybe there's something to this whole working with friends thing after all.
Aww, you called me your friend. Took you long enough.
Cram it. We need help carrying this back, so let's go find some extra hands.
Felix, wait up!
What are friends for? And that ends their support conversations. Yeah, so that'll be it for the support conversation parts. That pretty much cleared up Shez's support conversations. So I think he's completely done with everybody. Would have been done with Rodrigue, but yeah, as I cleared his up, it also cleared Felix's up because Raph's was his last one. I still need to build some with Dimitri, and I think one more with Dedue. But it's like, there's a lot that I have to build with the people that'll be in the next part. So next time we'll have a bunch more conversations. I think a lot of them are ending, but I think most of them are actually... It's like, I know some are starting, and then some are like in the middle stages. So there probably won't be a lot ending. But we'll get to that point when we get to it next time. So until then, I'll be seeing you.